All right, so we're live and we're recording. So this is a staying healthy at home um, educational workshop for anybody interested in learning more about health and nutrition. And we're gonna begin. So here are the presenters for today's presentation. My name is Anastasia. I'm one of the peer health educators on nutrition and physical health team, and I'm gonna hand it over to Valeria to introduce herself as well.
Hello, my name is Valeria Diego. I am a second-year nutrition major here at Cal Poly, and I'm also a peer health educator on the HEAT team, and this is my first year on the team.
Yes, so it is also my first year on the team, but I'm a fourth year nutrition major. So I'm graduating this year. So we're just going to tell you a little bit about Pulse in general. Pulse is a peer health education. We have 5 teams. We have the mental health, we have nutrition and physical health, which me and Valeria are on, and then we have sexual health, we have education on substance abuse, and lots of different resources down at the health center as well that we're partnering with. For example, we have the food pantry down at Pulse, which is located on the basement floor of the health center. So especially if you're staying on campus during this time, it could be a great resource if they are open during certain hours that you can find on the website for Cal Poly Food Pantry. I believe they're open from 9 to 2 every day during this quarter, and you can come and grab fresh produce, dry groceries, or whatever you need. And if you're looking for a long-term solution, there are also resources such as CalFresh. That is a government program that provides money for groceries. So if you qualify, you can get up to $150 per month. And then here's the outline for what we're going to talk today. We're going to talk about MyPlate, how to understand MyPlate and organize your meals around that. And then we're going to talk about how to read nutrition label and what nutrition label even looks like. And then we're going to touch a little bit on nutrient density versus calorie density. Then we're going to talk a little bit about cooking at home, some tips and tricks, and then we're going to take a quick break for a 10-minute yoga stretching routine. So if you have a yoga mat, that's great, you can grab that. You don't have to turn on a video for that. We'll just be playing a video that we recorded, and you can do a little stretching routine even at home. And then we're going to talk about some resources for finding exercises online, and what other resources you can find during this self-isolation period. And then we will talk about how to schedule a consultation with Pulse and different counseling services that are still happening in the health center, but they're happening virtually. So I'm going to hand it over to Valeria to talk about MyPlate.
All right, so let's begin with the MyPlate, which is the USDA recommended daily food intake. They're just guidelines that kind of break down what your ideal plate should look like. It's broken down into different categories. We have different food groups such as grains, proteins, fruits, vegetables, and dairy. And this is a visual that helps you kind of understand the amount of portions that are recommended for overall health. So this is kind of an activity that helps us visualize where each food group falls into and how much of them. And if we go to the next slide, we have it broken down as fruits, vegetables, grains, and proteins. And it's often you often hear of making half of your plate fruits and vegetables, and it's recommended to have more vegetables and fruits. And then the other half of your plate should be grains and proteins, and grains should be, you should have more grains than protein. And then we have a side of dairy, which could be dairy or a dairy alternative. All right, so let's talk about fruits. MyPlate recommends that women ages 19 to 30, as well as men, have a daily intake of 2 cups per day. The benefits of eating fruit would be that they are full of antioxidants, they are low in calories, fat, sodium, and cholesterol, and very high in fiber, and really nutrient dense. So that provides a lot of the essential vitamins and minerals that your body needs. Some healthy tips would be to substitute fruit juices that contain a lot of added sugars a lot of times, and substitute that with fresh fruit. And it's also recommended that you eat a rainbow, as in take a look at what your fruits and vegetables look like and try to vary them with colors, because each provide a different amount of vitamins and minerals. So vegetables. The MyPlate recommends around 2.5 cups per day for women and 3 cups per day for men. They promote heart health. They are low in calories, fat, sodium, and cholesterol, high in fiber, and as well as the fruit, very nutrient dense. A healthy tip would be to buy canned veggies that have a label that says low or reduced sodium on them. And also another healthy tip would be to buy them when they are seasonal, as they can be budget friendly. And again, try to vary them with different colors, textures, so you can cover a larger amount of vitamins and minerals. So dairy. MyPlate recommends about 3 cups per day for women as well as for men. The dairy contains a lot of protein. It promotes bone health, calcium, vitamin D, and some healthy tips would be to choose low-fat options, such as low-fat string cheese, skim milk, or 0% Greek yogurt. And if you follow a vegan diet, you could also choose a fortified plant milk, such as almond or soy, and you can also find a lot of dairy in tofu or collard greens. So greens. MyPlate recommends around 6 ounces of grains for women and around 8 ounces for men. And this is a great source of B vitamins, fiber, magnesium, and zinc. And it's also a great source of carbohydrates, which provide a lot of energy that can help you stay awake throughout your day. And if you are physically active, that's another way to support your health. And a healthy tip would be to make half your grains whole. Moving on to protein, MyPlate recommends women to have a total of 5.5 ounces per day, and men just 1 ounce higher, and it says 6.5 ounces for men. The benefits in that is that protein builds muscle, bone, cartilage, and it helps with skin and the blood. It's a good source of iron, and it helps with improving the immune system. And some healthy tips would be to choose more lean sources. And for non-meat sources, we have, let's see. That's just another healthy tip. Like if you don't follow if you don't choose to eat meat, you can find protein in other non-meat sources, and you could also find the balance between eating animal products as well as plant products. Okay.
So how much protein do you really need? Let's break that down. So this is kind of like an activity. You can either participate or not. So grab a piece of paper and a calculator if you have that by your side. So here's what we're gonna do. So first, take your body weight in pounds. You can approximate that if you don't know it. And then you will be dividing that by 2.2 to get your weight in kilograms. And then you will get your weight in kilograms, and then depending on your lifestyle, you are going to multiply it by a factor. So if you have a sedentary lifestyle, you would multiply it by 0.8. If you have a moderate activity throughout your day, you will multiply that by 1. If you are an endurance training athlete, so doing a lot of cardio and things like that, like running, you would multiply it by approximately anywhere from 1.2 to 1.6. And then if you're in strength athlete, you will multiply that by 1.4 to 1.75, depending on how much of strength training you do. So this is an example. Let's take Joe, for example. He's 150 pounds. He lives a sedentary lifestyle. So we will first find his weight in kilograms, and then we will multiply that by 0.8 to get 54.6 grams of daily protein recommendation. So what does that look like? As of right now, it might seem just as just a number. So let's see what that equivalence is to. For example, meat, poultry, and fish contain 7 grams of protein, 7 grams of protein per ounce. And usually a serving size would be 3 or 4 ounces of meat and poultry. So in one serving of meat, you're already getting up to 20 or 30 grams of protein, and that's almost even more than half of your daily needs if you have a sedentary lifestyle. Beans, dry peas, and lentils, which are a great source of plant-based protein, provide 7 grams of protein per half a cup of cooked beans or peas. And then eggs, every egg has 7 grams of protein, and milk has 8 grams of protein per cup. So you can see that protein can add up pretty quickly in your day, and it's not typically something to worry about. So is there such thing as too much protein? Definitely yes. More protein does not always equal to more muscle, and that is because per meal our bodies can usually metabolize only up to 30 grams of protein. So if you're trying to eat a lot of protein all at once, it's not going to do any good for your body. It will be hard for your kidneys to process that protein, and ultimately it's just going to be either excreted or stored into fat if you're overeating on calories as well. So now we're going to talk a little bit about how to read food nutrition labels. So here are the things we're going to talk about. So some important things to look at on a nutrition label that you see on the back of different products at grocery stores are calories. We'll look at serving sizes and what a number of servings per container mean. We'll talk about dietary fiber. And per day, usually the recommendation is to get at least 25 grams of dietary fiber. For fat, you want to watch out for saturated and trans fats. And then for sodium, the goal is to have less than 2,300 milligrams of sodium per day. Sugar, there's no USDA recommendation for sugar, but it's always better to stay as low in processed sugar as possible and have no more than 50 grams of added sugar per day. And then percent daily value means the percent of a certain nutrient the food that item contains of your daily recommended needs. So here's a typical nutrition label that you might see on a product. So some helpful tips. So let's say this is a nutrition label of a popcorn, for example. So the bag of popcorn would have 4 servings per container, and each serving would be 1.5 cups, and each serving would contain 240 calories. So a good rule of thumb is to make sure that one serving has less than 400 calories um, for any product. And then this is the amount of total fat this product contains per serving, per one serving, 4 grams of fat. And here we have saturated fat and trans fat listed. We want to limit limit these as much as possible. We want to consume more polyunsaturated and monounsaturated fats and limit saturated and trans fats. And then we have sodium. As I already mentioned, mm, we want to try and be as low as possible on sodium as well. So getting 2,300 milligrams per day or less is a good rule of thumb. And then you have total carbohydrates listed, including dietary fibers. So this product contains a good amount of fiber. It will be approximately 25% of your daily needs of fiber. As I already mentioned, a typical adult needs approximately 25 grams of fiber per day. And then we have total sugars, which includes 2 grams of added sugars. And as I already mentioned, we want to minimize those as much as possible. And then the protein doesn't have a percent daily value because protein needs vary from person to person, as we already talked about that. So that would be based on how much protein you need. So we recommend not fixating on numbers. Calories definitely do not tell the whole story about a person's diet, and you need to take a more holistic approach to your diet and choose more nutrient dense foods. For example, a 100 calories in 1 tablespoon of olive oil compared to 60 calories in a margarine is not the same, even though the margarine has less calories, but it has a lot more trans fats and added sodium. Whereas olive oil might have more calories, but it also will have a lot more nutrient and benefits for your body than margarine. So now let's talk about nutrient density versus calorie density, and I'm gonna hand it over to Valeria.
Yes, thank you. So nutrient dense versus calorie dense. So we want to kind of break it down and understand what each consists of and what they mean. So nutrient dense means more nutritional value than calories. It provides a lasting energy that is not stored as fat, found in raw whole grains, and it's high in vitamins and minerals, provides protein and complex carbohydrates compared to calorie dense, which is high in energy and low in nutrients. Excess energy is usually stored in the body as fat, and this can be found in processed foods, which have a lot of nutrients kind of stripped away from the product and have a lot of added sugar, fats, and salts. And as we learned earlier, we would like to minimize the amount of these products, these end products. Sorry. Okay, so let's look at an example. We have a blueberry muffin and blueberries. And this is asking us to compare both of these foods and kind of think about which is more natural. As we can see, the blueberries are fresh and not processed compared to the blueberry muffin, which also contains blueberries, but as you can see, it has gone through a process of baking and adding all these ingredients in order to make it a muffin. So this activity wants us to think which would be the best option for a healthier diet. So we think and we know that the answer is blueberries because they have more vitamins and antioxidants and less calories in the blueberry muffin. Okay, so now let's move on to cooking at home, which is something that a lot of us that are in our houses, we are we are doing more now than we did before. So this is an image that helps you understand portions without measurement cups or like measurement instruments. So you could just simply use your hand and you can identify a lot of portions. So for example, the palm, if you extend your hand, the palm of your hand is around 3 ounces of meat. And if you clench your fist, this front part would be the portion of a pasta. Um, and then if you look at your fingertip, you can see that it could be a measurement of a teaspoon, and then your thumb knuckle to tip. So I'm thinking this part right here, that would be equivalent to 2 tablespoons of whatever it is that you are using. And then your clenched fist, like this as it shows in the image, would be around a cup. So this is always helpful if you don't have the instruments necessary to kind of portion, and it just helps you, and it's very efficient. So cooking can be fun. You can make it a meaningful experience, especially if you'd like to spend time with friends or family. You can check out our website, which contains a lot of videos on how to prep food and cook it on our heat resource guide that we will provide. So yeah, this can also just, doesn't mean that you have to be an expert at cooking. You can start anywhere and just simply looking up how to do something kind of helps you get over the fear of cooking if that's something you experience. So some helpful tips would be to start with whole and fresh ingredients, keeping things simple. Especially if you are a beginner, it helps and it makes it easier. You should read through the entire recipe first so you are aware of everything and all the ingredients that you are including into the meal. But it's also important to make note of recipes and flavors and foods that you like, so it makes the experience more fun, and then in the end you have really tasty food. And just encourage all those around you to join you. And also something that I know that makes it more fun would be to play music while you cook and just gets you into the rhythm, and make enough for you to have leftovers. That kind of minimizes the amount of times you have to cook throughout the day. And another thing would be to clean as you go, to just help the mess stay away and just make things less heavy afterwards. Okay, so now we're gonna take a 10-minute break, and we have a video that my Anastasia will explain a little bit more about.
Sorry, I was muted. So here we have a quick yoga video that we're gonna do. Of course, you don't need to turn on your video or anything. We're just gonna play this video and you can follow along. You can, if you have a yoga mat, that's great, but you can also, this is a pretty easy stretching routine that you can even do on your floor. So I'm gonna change the sharing of my screen to the video. Okay, Valeria, let me know if you see the video. Okay, perfect. So I'm gonna wait a few more seconds just for everyone to get ready. I'm gonna stop my video just so that it's not distracting. And we're gonna play this video. It goes exactly for 10 minutes, and I hope you enjoy it. Short yoga sequence, you do not need any props, but if you do have a yoga mat, feel free to use it. The sequence is only 10 minutes, so you can use it in between your classes or whenever you feel like you've sat at the computer for too long and you just need a break. We will begin seated. Choose any cross-legged variation you'd like and place your palms on your knees and start bringing your attention to your breath. With every inhale, notice how the air fills up your lungs. And with every exhale, notice how the air circles back out of your nostrils. Take a few more breaths on your own, letting go of any thoughts, any worries, and becoming more present. When you're ready, we're gonna take a couple of circles with our shoulders. So as you inhale, bring your shoulders up to your ears and back. Exhale down and continue doing the circles with your shoulders, one direction and then the other direction. On your next inhale, sweep your hands up above your head. And as you exhale, bring them down by your sides. Now take your right hand and wrap it over your head, bringing your right ear closer to your right shoulder, and stretch out your left arm out from your body. No forcing here, just gentle stretching. And now switch hands. Left hand wraps over your head. Right hand stretches out away from your body. Gentle stretch of the right side of your neck. And release when you're ready. Come back to neutral and begin some neck rolls from one shoulder to another. Circle out your head, releasing any tension from your neck. Come back to neutral, sweep your hands up into the air. Inhale as you exhale, twist to your right. Left hand on your right knee. Inhale to lengthen, exhale to twist further. And then inhale, come back to neutral, hands up, exhale, twist to your left. Right hand on your left knee. Inhale to lengthen, exhale to twist deeper. Inhale, come back to neutral, sweep your hands up and bring them down by your sides. Now bring your hands behind your back and interlace your fingers. Look up at the sky, bring the shoulders back, open up your chest, and just breathe for a couple of moments here. When you're ready, sweep your hands back up into the air, and as you exhale, forward fold over your legs. Extend your fingertips in front of you and try to bring your forehead lower with every exhale. Whenever you're ready, roll over your knees into all fours, tuck your toes, and begin some cat-cow stretching of your back. So as you inhale, make an arch in your back, look up, exhale, round your back, look down at your knees, and continue at your own pace. With every inhaling, dropping your belly down, looking up, exhaling, rounding your back, looking down at your knees. On your next exhale, ground through your palms and feet and bring your hips up into downward facing dog. Walk out your legs here. If this is your first downward facing dog of the day, feel the stretching of your hamstrings. Take a couple of breaths here. Check in with your palms to make sure your fingers are parallel to your mat and to each other. It is okay if your heels don't touch the ground. You can bend your knees slightly. Just make sure you feel the stretching in your hamstrings. On your next inhale, ground through your left foot. Bring your right foot up into the air. And maybe do some circles, drawing some circles with your knee. One direction and then another direction. And when you're ready, square your hips and exhale, bring knee to nose. Inhale to extend. Exhale, knee to right tricep. Inhale to extend. Exhale, knee to left tricep. And inhale to extend, and exhale, plant your foot in between your hands, lower down your left knee onto the mat. Inhale, reach up, and exhale, cactus your arms. You can make a slight arch in your back, opening up your chest. On your next exhale, plant your hands near your foot and bring your hips back, extending your right leg. And just gentle forward fold over your right leg here. Now shift your hips forward, bending your right leg, plant your palms, step back into downward facing dog or flow through a vinyasa here with upward facing dog and downward facing dog as you exhale. On your next inhale, ground through your right foot. This time, bring your left foot up into the sky and begin drawing circles with your left knee this time. One direction and then a different direction. And square your hips, extend the leg. Inhale, exhale, knee to nose. Inhale to extend. Exhale, knee to left tricep. Inhale to extend. Exhale, knee to right tricep. Inhale to extend. And this time, plant your foot in between your arms. Lower your right knee onto the mat. Inhale, bring your arms over your head. Exhale, cactus your arms. Again, you can arch your back here, opening your chest. And as you exhale, shift your hips back, extending your left leg and forward fold over your leg for a deeper stretch of your hamstrings. On your next inhale, shift your hips forward and flow through a vinyasa here of your own choice with upward facing dog or go to downward facing dog right away. Now let's walk our hands a little bit closer to our feet, maybe halfway. Take your left hand and wrap it over the outside of your right foot for a spinal twist, and switch your hands. Take your right hand this time and wrap it over the outside of your left foot and come back to neutral when you're ready. Now walk your feet to your hands, look in front of you, lengthen your back, and as you exhale, forward fold over your legs. You can wrap your hands around your legs, or you can interlace and grab opposite elbows. Whatever variation you choose, you can bend your knees here. Now we're gonna try something fun here, and this is totally optional. We're gonna do a crow pose or bakasana. It's an arm balance, so you can bring your knees into your triceps, lean forward, and you can lift one leg at a time. Do it with your right and left, and maybe you lift both feet off the ground. And try balancing on your arms for a couple of breaths here. It's okay if it's not in your practice at this time. It will come with time and as you build more strength. And this wraps up our quick yoga break. Thank you so much for practicing with me. All right, so hopefully you enjoyed this little exercise break. And now I'm gonna switch the sharing of the screen to our presentation. All right, Valeria, let me know if you see the presentation. Okay, sweet. So next up, we have some general exercise recommendations that are gonna wrap up our presentation. So here are some general exercise recommendations from us. We recommend exercising or doing some sort of activity, either 150 minutes of moderate or 75 minutes of vigorous aerobic activity each week. So what does that look like? So moderate aerobic activity could be just a simple walking, yoga, or anything that isn't making you sweat too much or like making your heart race too much. And that could be only 30 minutes per day, 5 times a week. You can also choose a more vigorous aerobic activity such as jogging, running, biking, swimming, and you can only do that for 25 minutes per day, 3 times per week if you prefer that. And then we also recommend at least 2 days per week to have some sort of muscle strengthening activities, which are also called resistance training. So that could look like working with body weight or working with some additional weights, such as dumbbells or barbells. If you don't have that at home, you can even grab some water bottles. And we recommend working through all the muscle groups, your legs, abdominal muscles, back, chest, shoulders, and arms. A general good rule of thumb is to do 1 to 3 sets of each exercise with 8 to 12 repetitions or until the exercise is difficult to complete without assistance. And it's always important to remember that form is much more important than which weight you are choosing, because if you have a very compromised form, even if you're putting a lot of weight, it will do more damage than good. And so here are some of the classes that you can find at our rec center virtually right now. The recreational center is doing Instagram lives where they teach, where they have different instructors, yoga instructors, fitness instructors teach a class such as bar connect, vinyasas, hit workouts, and a lot more that you can find on their website and on their Instagram. Um, I believe it's Kalpali Rec Center at Kalpali Rec Center, and they have a lot more information about that there. So as you can see, it's very easy to do some sort of activities at home with so much resources out there. It's very easy to find what will work for you. It could be yoga, it could be HIIT, and you don't even need a lot of different equipment. You don't need equipment at all to stay active and move your body. So here are some of the resources that we put together, and we can share that through the Kalpali transfer group, or we can share that in the comments so that it is available for everybody. So we have the different nutrition and cooking resources. We have different exercise links to different classes. And then we have some resources here with um, registered dietitians that you can find on Instagram, some wellness influencers that we thought could be useful. And here I'm gonna turn it over to Valeria to talk about how you can schedule a consultation with us in the health center.
Yeah, so if you're interested to connect with the resources that our team or other team offers, you could definitely reach us through our email, which is wellbeing@calpoly.edu, and you can schedule an appointment. In this circumstance, it would be through Zoom. So you just contact them and they will get back to you with a date that works best for you and for the coach who will see you. And and there you can like specify about what you would like to talk about. And if you want to do a little bit more research on specific topics, we recommend websites like eatright.org, since it's a really reliable source from the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. So just making sure, another tip is that whenever you do look for information about health, nutrition, or physical well-being, that you understand and that you have to gather that information from a reliable source. And so our contact information is provided, our phone number for the office, our website, our email. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook. And if you have any other questions or comments, we'd be happy to answer them. We appreciate the time that you took today to attend this presentation. We hope that you found it useful and that you are willing to share some of the valuable information that you gained today. Yeah, so just a little closing note. During these difficult times, it's more important than ever that we take care of ourselves, both physically and mentally. So social distancing does not mean you have to go through this alone. If you're feeling lonely, isolated, or just need someone to talk to, our peer coaches are here for you. And then next we have a little QR code that you can read with your camera through Snapchat, and it's a quick survey about the presentation, and if you are available to do this, we would appreciate it. Yes, so that concludes our presentation for today. Again, we appreciate your time. Anastasia, if you have any other comments that you would like to add?
Yes, we're going to just hang out for a couple more minutes, just in case there are any more questions. But yes, thank you so much for joining us today. This recording will be shared with the Transfer Association, I believe, or whoever is in charge, and they will provide this presentation for anybody interested. And if you need to follow up on any of the material that we shared today. So I'm gonna stop sharing. Yes, I'm gonna stop recording first.